Hi everyone, Zach here, and welcome to the bonus video for Section 2, Lesson 21. If you have not done the primary video for Lesson 21 yet, pause this recording and go back to that video and do that video first. You need to have a fully functional inventory system minus the encumbrance system to do this video. Of course, you could do this video after doing the encumbrance system as well. This video will be focusing on iterating our pickup events so that we can have a more immersive inventory system. That said, this video has been brought to you by my Patreon sponsors, and that said, fire up your projects and let's make a start. Hi everyone, welcome to the bonus video for Section 2. In this video, we'll take care of some little things that might come up. So I mentioned that you might have a bug where you walk up here and you pick up an item and that display doesn't go away and it stays up on your screen. Not sure why I'm actually not getting it in this version. But if you are getting that bug, we'll take care of it. Also, let's just do that again. I am definitely overlapping two of these and I lose the menu. I have to walk back away. In fact, actually, to show you that it is both of them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk up, line myself up, hit that, walk away, line back up, and I didn't do any A or D. I didn't move the camera, and you saw that that happened. I'm going to hit play again. I'm going to walk backwards, and we have this, where it's trying to get me to harvest when I'm not looking at it. And some of you might get a bug where, for some reason, and I can't get this always to reliably trigger, but there is a potential bug. And if you put a line break or a print string in, a breakpoint or a print string, it'll say, hey, I'm overlapping with something, but I'm not getting anywhere because I can't reach the player because it isn't the player I'm overlapping with. Those three things we'll take care of. You need to have your BP item master and your interface item master open for this. We're going to start in our BP item. Oh, also, hang on. I mentioned a bug early in the video. I'm going to actually demonstrate this bug now. I'm going to take, I'm going to take this last one and just set this value to 0. I mentioned this very early on. How do I discard 0? How do I eat 0? How do I have an item of 0? So what we're going to do for that, we're also going to take care of that. Again, most of this is going to be in Section 4 of the series, but I figured trying to slot it into this section and adding it as a bonus video is a better choice than having a completely separate video for this section. Well, it is a separate video, but making you wait a week. So let's take care of the 0 thing first. What we're going to do on the event begin play is do a branch. We are going to check our, oh, it's on the master, is it? We're going to check our item amount, and we are going to confirm, is our item amount greater than or equal to 1. If it is greater than or equal to 1, we will do nothing. If it isn't, destroy actor. And let's demonstrate that this works. So sign that back up. Go back here. Actually set that back to 0 for a moment. And actually let's set this one to 0 as well. And hit play. Notice there's now 2 missing. So all the ones that we set to 0 were destroyed. Set it back to 10. Set it back to 6. Now, this should always work. Keyword should. Not everything goes to plan. So what we're going to do as well is our on pickup event, just to guarantee that we can't pick up an item of 0. What we're going to do is we're going to take all these nodes, and yes, I still have that space because we're going to add stuff in there. And we're going to do that in this video. I'm just going to move it this way for a moment. Is I am going to do a branch. And I am going to check the same thing I checked earlier. I could just copy the branch, to be fair. I'm going to duplicate the condition of greater than or equal to 1 here. I'm going to give myself a bit more space because we are going to do stuff on the false branch. One of the things I'm going to do really quickly before we do our false branch is I'm going to go up to our end overlap here. And after the branch, I am going to do a custom event called abort overlap. And I'm just going to plug it directly into our end harvest prompt. And then down here on our branch, what I want to do is I want to take that node and our set is overlapping, paste it down here, line them up to each other. We're going to leave it as false. We're just making sure that this is being set, even though technically that's happening up there. This is just because sometimes it does get wonky if you, it gets wonky sometimes. And we're going to do abort overlap. All right. Go ahead and save that. The next thing we want to do is we want to retrigger our overlap. So the way this works is we are going to go to our item master. Actually, I lied. We also need our player character and our player character interface open. We are going to create a new event called item retrigger overlap. I am doing item to differentiate between the fact that we're going to have an item event and a player event. So on our item, what we're going to do is on the set is overlapping here, we're going to do our item retrigger, retrigger overlap as an event. And I'm going to just make this comment a bit bigger to fit this in. Don't worry about how it's lining up with that now, because this is going all the way to the right. And I'm going to plug that directly into there. And now we need to sort of replicate this in our player. Let's go to our player character interface here. And in our player character interface, we are going to do a similar event. I did not put this in the correct area. That is a widget related. So what we're going to do here is an add event, or an add a function. It's really an event. And it's player retrigger overlap. And this will be of type item. I'm going to rename this item events. Or item related, actually. And just move all these into item related. I'm going to fix the fact I spelled related with a capital E there. There we go. Widget related, item details, item related, and item detail, item wrong related, but okay, item related. And finally, I'm going to move this into item related as well. Compile, save, go over to my character, go to our first person character, and in our first person character, to the right here, because it's actually the item related world setting thingy. That hopefully made sense. Oh, hang on, wait, no, I'm not done. I need to add something into this. We need to do one input, and that's going to be our item ref. It will be of type actor, beige circle. Compile, save. Compile this as well, because technically we just updated this as well. And it is going to be player retrigger overlap event. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a delay in. And the reason we add a delay in is it prevents the item that we're about to destroy from triggering this event. We are going to do a for each loop with break. And we're going to get our capsule component. And we are going to do get overlapping actors. So the funny part is, what's triggering this is the item we're about to destroy. We delay so it can be destroyed. And then we're going to check for BP item master. And we're going to, the first element that triggers this will retrigger our overlap event. So we're going to add another security check-in. Even though we're waiting to see if the item's been destroyed, we want to make sure that this is not equal to the item that we are passing in. That's the only reason we have that reference, by the way. Because sometimes, even with the delay, the item isn't fully destroyed and it tries to get you to pick up again, and you can't do that. No, you just can't. That's against the rules. All right. Actually, you really can't, by the way. I'm not making a joke. It does some really fun, buggy things sometimes. If this is true, we will carry on. So in other words, if it is not the item we just picked up, we will carry on. We are then going to check, just in case it isn't, again, our third check, by the way. We're going to check is valid with a question mark. So literally these two nodes are doing the same thing. I have run into issues where for some reason it'll get past this, and actually it isn't a valid actor for some reason. Right. Apparently I do need more room. So those will go that way. I haven't commented everything out yet, by the way, and I'm not going to because, this is going to comment it out because we still have stuff to do in relation to our equipment system that ties into the inventory system. That is the main reason why things are still kind of uncommented. All right, if it is valid, then we're going to come off of here again. And we are going to, what we're going to do actually is do this. Make it clear where these lines are coming from. We're going to pull off of this one and item retrigger overlap message. Plug that into the is valid. Put one more reroute in so it's clear again. That line is coming from the array element. And come back here, plug into the breakpoint, and oh dear God, I do need a lot more room than I thought. We'll be cleaning this up later on, don't worry. Plug some reroutes in so we can see that this is our break execute. There we go. And let's test this out, make sure it actually works correctly. Should though, but I'm also going to comment this out because this part is done. This retriggers overlap event. Actually, no, this isn't done. We skipped a step. We haven't called this up yet. We're not going to do my usual blunder of setting something up and then not calling it. However, on the nice note of this, you can select these nodes now. And you can comment them out. Okay. And comment them out as our item overlap. So that actually is done. Isn't that pretty? So let's go back to our item master after we compile this. And on our item master, what we're going to do is, well, if we have picked up the item and it's been successful and thus the actor has been marked to destroy, we are going to pull off this get player and player retrigger overlap. What's the item that we don't want it to be? Remember, the item that triggers this is the item we've just picked up, and we don't want it to be the item we just picked up, so we're going to put in self. And then we destroy actor, and we carry on. So let's make sure this is working. Again, I'm going to just try to line up the middle there. And there it pops back up, and I was able to pick up both items. One was 10, one was 8. We know it's working. And now, finally, let's take care of... I completely missed them because I'm walking backwards. That. We want to be looking at our items when we pick them up. Also, there are the other things I mentioned too. So it's all kind of on the same thing. We don't need the player character or the interfaces anymore. So we can comment this out as our pickup event and retrigger prompt if needed. This is our override consume event. It's override because there's nothing in here. We just have it so we can call it in any of our items. And this is our pickup event. Or, prompt. Pickup event. Or prompt to pickup event. All right. Let's just move this down, move this down, move this down. Okay, so actually I'm going to take them all and move them even further down. There we go. Because I'm going to move you down now too. That's good enough for government work. So if you're getting the random error where, hey, it's triggering even though it's not the player it's overlapping with, which actually in theory you should be getting based on what we have here. Let's move these to the right. What we're going to do is we're going to come off of here and we're going to check, is this equal to, instead of casting, we can just do get player character. That makes life a little bit nicer, neater, and less hard referencey. Yes, I just try to, do whatever I do with the language there. If this is true, then we carry on to these events. If you did break it from the side, make sure you plug the retrigger back in. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to actually take these nodes and this node and just move them a bit further down. So I can move this a bit further down and tuck that right above there. So what we're doing with this is we are confirms player. Confirming the player is the one doing the overlapping. Technically, we should do that down there, and we will in a moment. Now, if for some reason you're getting the error where and honestly, the error is going to be worse right now for you if you were getting the error because of our retrigger. If you're getting the error prior to the retrigger, prior to everything we're doing, where if you pick up an item and you're already overlapping another item, the trigger response is already there and doesn't go away, well, there is another thing you need to do. By the way, the error is worse now because technically you're getting 2 prompts and they keep getting darker and darker and darker each time you do it because you're laying them over and over and over each other. We're going to put another reroute here just so we have a nice reroute to pull from. And we're going to do get is overlapping. And we're going to plug that into, well, actually we're going to break that for a moment. We're going to plug the true into there. And if this is if this is false, actually, sorry, if we are not, we're going to just do a not here. If we are not currently overlapping, then we want to trigger our overlap event. If we are currently overlapping, so this would return a false here, then we will not do anything. So all we're doing is confirms player is not already in overlap event. And because a comment is weirdly shaped, we're going to fix it. And finally, we do need more room again. Let's take all these nodes, let's move them this way. We're going to create a function, and we're just going to really quickly, so I don't screw this up, create a simple function here, called check, and this is not a pure function, if player sees item. I can't think of a better name for it. It's going to have one output. It will be B player sees item. Break that. Go back to the event graph, and so I don't make my usual mistake, go ahead and plug that in. Put a branch in. If this is true, then we want to trigger this event. So this checks if player is looking at item. Let's set up this event, and hang on. If you get that error, refresh your node, plug the player sees item back in, compile again, save. Now this I should have done a prep video for, or I probably will do a prep video for this in the next section actually. In section 4 we will have a prep video for this, because something we're going to do relates to the player sound and how footsteps are determined where that sound's coming from. What we're going to do is we're going to do a line trace. And a line trace, just really quickly, so I am giving you some information, creates a line that shoots from point A to point B, and it tells you what it's intersecting in those 2 points. So we're going to actually do a multi-line trace for objects. Okay. Now, this is the weird part. We want the line trace to hit the item. We're currently in the item. We don't want the line trace to go from the item to the player, because it's always going to hit the player. We want it to come from the player to the item. So this is where things get a bit different. So instead of doing self and get actor location, we're going to do get player camera manager. So this is the actual camera the player at the time is using. We are going to get from this the actor, in this case the camera manager is the actor, get actor location. And we also going to get the forward vector. We want to know which way the camera is facing. So get forward vector, because that's the direction the camera is facing. All right. Now, why aren't we using the player character here? Well, we're shooting from the actor location. It's just a little bit easier to use the camera, I found, instead of the actor. For some reason, the line trace comes out at a really weird angle. It comes out from the middle of the chest, so unless the item is big enough to hit the middle of the chest, this never works. What we are going to do is we're going to do vector plus a vector. And we are going to take, I'm going to put a reroute in here actually. We're going to take from here, and we are going to multiply by 15. And the reason why we're multiplying by 15 is, a float of 15, is because sometimes it will collide with the player itself. And despite saying ignore the player, I have found that sometimes that doesn't work. So we do 15. So it's starting 15 centimeters or 15 Unreal units in front of the player's face. And yes, I did mean face. Actually, I should say the character's face, not the player. We're going to take from this, and we are going to plug into our start point. So that is where this line trace starts. And I'm going to actually move all these nodes upwards to line up a bit better with that start bit. For our end, we are going to go forward from the character 500 units. So float times vector, or vector times float. We're going to go forward 500 units, not 3, 500. We are going to take the actor's location, and again, we are going to do vector plus vector. Plug that into there. And that is our end location. So all this is doing is calculating the trace start and end. So trace start and end calculation. I am going to move this down. Don't worry about the, there we go, just move it back now. Wow, because I couldn't see what I was writing, and I was definitely off the home keys for a bit of that. We got weirdness. All right, so that's all this is doing. Next, what we want to do is we want to make sure it only responds to certain items. Now, for that, that means that we are going to pull off this object types, make array, and we don't want world static, we want world dynamic. So respond, and then all items, by the way, are world dynamic. To items, world dynamic. Now, we want it to ignore the player. Now, we can't just pull off of here and do make array, but we do need to do make array. And we can't just do self, because, well, that would actually cause us never to see the item according to this, because we're doing this in the item. So in this case, what we need to do is get player character. Even though we are doing this, as I mentioned already, for some reason, sometimes that line trace doesn't ignore self. That's why we've added the 15 there. So this is, again, ignore actor, and we're ignoring the player in particular. That's the actor we want to ignore. And then all we're doing is we're passing this out. Boom, boom. Compile, it saves automatically. Hit play. And let's walk backwards. I am definitely stuck on an item. Yeah, I'm stuck on an item. See? If I turn around, press E. Press E. You actually have to be looking at the item. We'll probably clean that up down the road, mostly because we don't have the actual item sizes and meshes to mess with. So we'll take care of that a little bit later on. Now, I'm going to do the cube backwards. I've hit the cube. I'm stuck on it. I have to back up and do this. Oh, God. There. Huh? Why aren't you seeing the cube? All right. Well, let's do a test. Let's turn our for duration. We're going to just move that up for a minute. We'll set that to 10. Hit play. It is hitting the item. What the? Yeah, it's definitely hitting the item. Okay. Press E to harvest herb. And I'm going to pause the video real quick while I work out why this is happening, because this is definitely not happening in the prep file, and we match the prep file. Famous last words, it doesn't match the prep file. Unclick ignore self. Funny part was what was triggering it over here, why it was working, is they're all so close together. And so I should have noticed that when I was doing it, from looking at that item as I triggered this event, it was piercing that item's collision capsule. Now, hey, it works. Okay, sorry about that. That was literally, the 15's fine. It's literally the ignore self needs to be turned off. All right, that sets up everything that we need to take care of. Now, the one thing that I did mention that we will probably address down the road is this. I'm already in the box. So what we could do is put a timer in. We can talk about the cost of doing that, and we can talk about doing all that in a later section of the series. Most likely section 6 or 8 of the series, assuming I keep to the original schedule. That said, this is truly the last video in section 1 outside of the review video. Section 2. I hope you've enjoyed setting up your inventory system and are happy that you can now eat and keep your character from dying. Uh-oh. Something went wrong there. So, the reason why it stopped working, 0. Item amount, 0. Go to our item master. Item amount has to be greater than 1. If not, destroy the actor. So how do we get around this? Well, I double check what I did in my prep file. Well, here's the interesting fact. In my prep file, let me just bring it over here so you can see it. Here's the prep file. And this one is source control. And that's our water from a later section. Don't worry about why it looks so weird here. It's not designed to work in this environment. I think that's the meat cube. That is not the meat cube. I might have deleted the meat cube. Yeah, this is from a different test. This is, I think, our head-mounted display. Oh no, it is a meat cube. Hey, meat cube. I didn't realize you were still here. Let me just set our box on this one because it is a bit different than what we've done in this series. There we go. Let's pick up that meat cube. Boink. There's 5 of them there. Eat. Eat. Oh, yeah, encumbrance system is active. Eat. I can't eat. Discard. 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 Yeah, you're gonna go weird for a bit, I realize. So, hey, it's working. Oh, I walked over there for a reason. It's amount 0 here. So it works in my prep file. For some reason, unless I'm missing something really obvious, it only works with a 1 put into this one. So, for now, add a 1 there. Hit play. Pick up your meat cube. Pick up that. Eat. And we now see it's, hang on. We saw that that went down. Let's do another eat. We're a little bit full, so we're going to just give it a minute. Go to our food master. Set that to none. Set that to none. Open this back up. Hit eat. We're getting our on consumed event. Hit resume. So hey, it's working. I'm not entirely sure why that difference had to be made between the 2 versions, but what have you. All right, so we now have a working inventory system. The one last thing I'm going to do before I forget, because it's going to drive me crazy otherwise, is none. We don't want a line trace. So all that said, I hope you've enjoyed setting up your inventory, being able to pick up an item, have it retrigger if you're overlapping another item. You know, having to actually look at your item to pick it up. Being able to eat. Being able to discard items. Being able to split stacks. And being able to open and close the menu with 1 key. having a button to do likewise, and also having all these nice little pop-ups that actually tell you stuff about your item. And if you've enjoyed all that, please make sure to hit the subscribe and notify icon. I did hit eat, right? Yeah, my health is full, so give me a second. I'm gonna figure out what the heck just went wrong there. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through how I found this bug because I'm an idiot, and if anyone was paying attention in an earlier video, yeah, you've already seen the bug. You already know what's wrong. So what I did was I went into my item master, or it's my inventory. There are two spots where we spawn actors, where we spawn the item. In the discard event, and in our use item. So I put a breakpoint on each one. And, you know, what I did was I picked this up, pick that up, I discard, I'm gonna just discard 2. Nothing happens there, right? Oh, sorry, we expect that. Let's discard item. We can step out of that. We set this to false, we carry on. So perhaps if I hit eat, we're in this use item, I'm just gonna hit resume and nothing happens, the item stays in. But in my outro, I did multiple things. I discarded an item and then I split an item. Split this. We now have 4. One stack, 19 in the other. Now, I'm gonna turn the camera to slightly here. I'm going to eat. Use item, you expect that. I hit resume, discard item. That was the issue. Splitting the stack. Well, the solution is simple as heck. Go to your split stack, delete the run as discarded node. We literally don't need that. Just plug that into there. When I was doing my update from the run as discarded to make this widget, sorry, I forgot the name, I skipped that. So now our system is fully functional, where we can pick up multiple items. We can get retriggers on picking up things when we're looking at multiple items. We have to be, as I was saying earlier, looking at all the... Okay, I'm not doing the entire outro again. So I'm just going to show you that it's working. Let's eat that. Let me remove the breakpoints that I so nicely included. Okay, wow, I can't switch windows while I'm in full view. Hello, breakpoints. Oh, eventually I'll finish this video. While I'm doing this, this video has been sponsored by my Patreon sponsors, Rian, Quad Menson, and Haynes, among others. If you want to copy this project, please hit that, or sorry, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Patreon supporters at upper tiers get access to the project right away, and any other ongoing YouTube projects and completed projects. Patreon supporters at other tiers will get access once the project has been completed. Eat works. Discard. 5. Split. 4. Eat works. We now have a working inventory system. So if you've enjoyed setting this up, oh, I hate that happens. Make sure to hit the like button. It really does help this channel out. And make sure to hit the subscribe and notify icon so you know when the next tutorial is out, which will be for section 3 of this series, where we set up our equipment system. Again, congratulations on bearing with me through this inventory system. I look forward to seeing you in section 3, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.